Let's start with Hitman missions, right? Children's Park, Kamurocho. Mostly because I'm gonna have to play for a hot second to remember everything that I'm still missing. Murder mystery. I think there's a couple of keys we need to find. That guy's gonna want to fight me. Alright, thanks for the warm-up, bud. Eating at a bunch of places. Which reminds me, I should probably let one of these punks beat me up a little bit. Oh, is he done? Okay, I didn't let any of the punks beat me up. There was only 2 of them, and they kind of just went squish. Got out of my inventory. Weapon modding. What? He caught me? Seriously? Literally not even close. Hit me. It's gonna take forever. You don't do any damage. Get out of here. Not today, my guy. Not today. Oh, there's something going on up here. What's this? That's the Hitman Yuto, eh? Looks like these punks are giving him a hard time. Little snot, drop the fucking innocent bit. Just cough up the money already. You little shit, what the hell you sighing about? You guys have a death wish or something? Say what? You think you can kill us? I'd like to see you try. Uh-oh. Yuto is an Avenger hitman. He might actually kill them. Okay, that's enough. Who the fuck are you? Get the hell out of here. If you value your lives, then you better give it a rest. Huh? What did you say, Pops? You're going down. You're gonna take a bashing for this little snot? If it's a fight you're looking for, I'd hate to disappoint you. Damn it, we'll remember this. Don't expect me to thank you. I didn't ask for your help. I'm leaving. Are you the Avenger, Yuto? Ah, now I see how it is. Knowing who I was, you thought I really might kill them. That's why you intervened. That's right. Well, don't worry. I don't kill people unless it's for work. Unfortunately for you, though, shutting up people who found out my identity qualifies as my work. Nothing personal, you understand. But I'm going to have to kill you. Ooh. Ooh. Oh. I don't have much on hand for weapons to deal with the fact that he has a weapon, so... Just gonna have to get into heat and beat him up. Ugh. Well, I can tell already that this is going to be an annoying fight. I'm just going to have to be a little bit relentless on the assault here so that he doesn't get to space to shoot me. And it's not like he always needs space to shoot me, because he can, like he just did, shoot from right behind me, but... Damn it. Ah, there we go. Gotta go for maximum damage here. There it is. Fight's over. You're not half bad. I never would have guessed an old geezer like you could beat me. You look pretty young. How'd you get into this business? Age doesn't matter in my line of work. I was trained by the boss in a kind of program for the gifted. Boss, eh? The head of the Avengers. That's right. The gun I'm using was a coming-of-age present from him. Who exactly is this boss? Obviously, I can't reveal that. If the boss found out I'd ratted on him, I'd be dead. I just wish I could have lived up to his expectations, that's all. Sounds like he knows some important information about the boss of the Avengers. I bet Ibuki could probably get it out of him without resorting to violence. What a guy. What a guy. You two already knew Kotaro. Oh, wow. Who's working here now? Since they're both still young, I hope they'll apply themselves as friendly rivals, help each other develop in the right direction. Thank you very much for your help in this. Here's your reward. Come on, bud. Give me another one. That is an exciting thing. Has assembled a large number of men. Senrio Avenue. Okay. I'm on it. Would you like to share with the class, or do you want to keep it a secret? You say hard, I say I paid like $30 for an old PS1 game one time. But I could play it. So it can't be that hard. And that was disc only. Damn it. Found him. Is there a guy named Goran here? Who are you? I'm with the Honest Living Association, the HLA. I'm here to see Goran. The HLA? You dumbass. You just waited. We would have come to you. Look, I don't have time for flunkies. Bring me this Goran guy right now. Hey, what are you calling flunkies, Pops? Enjoy your ignorance while you can. Goran only surrounds himself with the toughest badasses around. And that includes us. I couldn't care less who you punks think you are. Are you gonna let me pass or not? Enough of this bullshit. If you think you can get by us, go ahead and try. Yeah, that's a pretty expensive game. It's pretty expensive. Sounds like a PS1 game. I feel like that's becoming a bit of the standard for those games, honestly. There isn't a digital re-release on the PS Classic store or anything? What the hell just happened? All talk and no substance. I'm going in. Who the hell are you? What happened to the guards? We're taking a little rest out front. What? I'm with the Honest Living Association. I'm here to see Goran. Idiot. Goran ain't here. What? He already left for the attack on the HLA. He gathered up dozens of his men and is probably giving him a pep talk right about now. No reason for me to be here then. Whoa. Just a minute, pal. Not so fast. Why don't you stay a while? Let us show you a bit of our hospitality. Alright. I'll show you how honored of a guest I can be. Wow. As long as you're extending hospitality, why don't you just tell me where Goran is? He's got his men together up on the Millennium Tower roof. The Millennium Tower roof? That's just above the Fuma family office. The Kazuma family office. There's no way they could have pulled that off. Best place to hide is right under somebody's nose. Several Avengers are former members of the Kazuma family. They could get the keys, no problem. It's time they headed out to storm the HLA. If you want to go, better make it fast. If you're in a hurry to die, that is. Damn it. Better head to Millennium Tower fast. Oh, shit. A Game Boy Color version? Alrighty then. Oh, wow, it just warped me here. Okay, sick. That's maybe one of the more interesting things I've heard before. A Game Boy Color and a PS1 version. That has my mind racing as to what could run on both of those systems. Are you Goren? Yeah. Who are you? I'm with the Honest Living Association, the HLA. I'm here to talk to you. So you're the guy who's been rounding up my buddies for the HLA, huh? I'm impressed, I gotta admit. But you've been getting a little carried away. Think so? The boss isn't too happy about all this. He ordered me to take any means necessary to destroy the HLA. And he told me to find the bastard who's been capturing our men, and tear him limb from limb. Looks like that bastard is you. I think I'll just carry out my second set of orders first, get you crossed off my to-do list. And there are 50 other guys here who all second that motion. Think you stand a chance against us? I think it'll be fine. Bit of an endurance test with plenty of EXP, so I'm down. Oh yeah, they only got tiny hit point pools too. This is a perfect example of quantity not being better than quality. Azure Dreams. Oh, I need to throw this. I have not heard of that game before. Oh, these guys have some hit points. What kind of game is Azure Dreams? Is it like an RPG or is it something else? kidding me, dude? Japanese strategy RPG. Oh. Monster Tamer, Dungeon Crawler, Town Builder, Diddy Simulator. I believe that. Totally believe that. Oh my god. Alright. Alright. One at a time, everybody. He has an axe. I would really like to even up the playing field here before I have to deal with Axe Boy. Oh, alright. I also don't want to get one shot by an axe. I'm gonna use sandwich. Oh, Jesus. Alright, Jesus. Let's call. Oh, there's a gun. Oh, it's empty. Turn-based action. That kind of makes sense, yeah. I barely scratched this guy. Down he goes. Ooh. That was scary for a second. Turn-based action, grid-based. That is hard to explain. Ow. Oh wow, already? That is admittedly a hard thing to describe and a hard thing to visualize, I think. My long-ranged crude pistol assault continues. I win. He fell prey to getting pistol whipped from range. Yeah, that is nice. How the hell did that just happen? Amazing how you rounded up so many thugs, only to have them scatter like rats, eh? Ouch, that hurts. I've been abandoned before. The last time I was one of the thugs in the crowd and my family abandoned us all. Yeah? I relentlessly trained myself until I was sure of my strength. Focused solely on disciplining myself for the sake of my family. As I became stronger, I was given more and more important work. It gave me a purpose in life. One day, I got into a big showdown with a rival family. I thought my role was going to be assassinating their key men, since I've been given those kinds of important roles before. Don't care to do 100% of the DLCs? Yeah, there you go. Turns out, I was just another disposable pawn to them. I was treated just like all the other guys in the crowd, just like the ones who only caused trouble and partied all the time. I couldn't take it, and I lost all hope in the family I'd given everything to. What was all that effort for? It really got to me. I understand what you're getting at. That kind of thing happens all the time. When it's an all-out conflict, everybody, even the boss, has his life on the line. You can't split hairs over those situations. But even so you wondered what you worked so hard for all that time. Well, you managed to survive that fight, didn't you? Isn't that what matters most? Even though you're not in the family anymore, you can still rely on your own strength. Obsessing over revenge isn't something a strong man would do. What is real strength to you? Think about it. Life lessons with Kiryu. You might have a point. I always trained my body, but maybe I forgot about disciplining my soul. Maybe the HLA could help me take a good, hard look at myself again. I think they can. Call it in, Kiryu. I believe Goran knows a great deal about the Avengers, but he's refusing to tell us anything at the moment. We won't use force, though. That's not the way we do things around here. We like to take the time to talk matters over and arrive at a mutual understanding. Give me that money. I'm going to go eat a bunch of food because I'm really hurt. No new Hitman info. Well, that wrapped up quicker than I expected. All right. Need to find a place where I could go eat a lot of food. We could try to get to the Matsu. Oh, Cafe Alps? Or we could do Pronto Bar Time. Because I haven't really touched anything there. I guess, wait, I have, but also I haven't. I have the bottom. Well, also, it might just be a bar, so we may need to do Cafe Alps as well. Oh, no. 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 Alright, fine. I'll beat you up, too. I don't need hit points to take out a chump like you. Alright, maybe the knife guy goes first. Game lagged for a second there when I hit that. Like, stand up, chump. Jackass. Oh, I could get both? So I haven't had anything from the cafe list. Last Guardian. Interesting. Oh. I know some people. I know. Yeah. There you go. Those are. Yeah. Jay Hit's a big Metal Gear fan. So I know that would go. That wouldn't go. Unappreciated. That's the word I'm looking for. Unappreciated. Um, Last Guardian would be tricky. When it came out, the Beard Bros did a playthrough of it, and I did watch that playthrough. I don't remember very much about the game itself, I guess. More just the comedy that was happening. But I have watched a fair amount of that game be played. So I don't know how blind I could call it, per se, in case that matters. But Mass Effect I know very little about. And uh, Metal Gear Solid is like this weird thing for me because a long time ago, like back when I was a decade younger, Jay Hit and I would would get together, and there was a time where he was playing through MGS4, and he tried explaining the events of the previous Metal Gear games to me so that Metal Gear Solid 4 would make sense. And it, to his credit at the time, I think that it worked enough that I enjoyed what was happening, but I remember nothing. I remember nothing about those games. Literally nothing. The most poignant memories I have of any Metal Gear game are Metal Gear Solid 1. And that's just because it's so blocky and polygonal. And it just stands out in my memory. Yeah, I totally agree with you. But at the time we tried. At the time we tried. So okay, so current manager, mock bowling, Theater Square Club, Nakamichi Street Popo. Alibi, witness testimony, motive, and fingerprint evidence. Hmm. Well, we're right next to the Theater Square Club Sega, so let's go there first. Wait, no, we're not. Theater Square. As in, not this one. I'm a dum-dum. You're Masaru Kinoshita, aren't you? That's right. Who are you? Kazuma Kiryu. I want to ask you about the murder that happened at this cafe 6 years ago. Oh, that. Well, I don't know if I can tell you anything new, but go ahead. What to ask? Where were you and what were you doing when Oda was killed? I was here, in the customer area, cleaning up. I believe you could see me on the security camera tapes. I wasn't in the locker room when the murder took place. I see. Okay. They say you saw Yuichi Akechi fleeing the scene on the night of the crime. Tell me more about that. Oh. Yes, I saw him. That night, Akechi disappeared right in the middle of cleanup. I waited a while, and when he still didn't come back, I went to check on him. That's when I saw him leaving through the back door of the cafe. Are you sure it was Akechi? Well, I only saw his back, but I'm sure it was him. You didn't see his face? Then how can you be so sure it was Akechi? The man I saw leave through the back door was wearing our cafe's waiter's uniform. Yeah? But what if somebody just put the uniform on? Aside from Oda, who was dead, there were only 3 other male employees working that night. Akechi, a guy named Asai, and me. You could see Asai spending the night closing the register on the security tapes. So the only person I could have seen would have been Akechi. I see. After that, I called the police and waited at the back door until they showed up. No one tried to enter or leave during that time. So Kinoshita didn't see the criminal's face. Did Oda have many enemies? Well, I'm not sure. I didn't really talk to him much outside of work. Got it? Were your prints on the murder weapon? No, they weren't. I keep thinking that if I had touched that ashtray that day, I would have been the one to get blamed. It's an odd statement. Are you a detective, Mr. Kiryu? Not exactly. Why do you ask? Yeah. No reason. I was just wondering why anyone would be looking into that case now. Trying to help a friend find out if Yuichi Akechi is innocent. Innocent? You think someone else could have been the murderer? It's possible. Oh, wow. Wouldn't it be awful if poor Yuichi was... Wouldn't it be awful for poor Yuichi if he really was innocent? Can't imagine what it would feel like to be in the prison for 6 years for a crime I didn't commit. Topical. Well, that's why we're trying to find out the truth. If you think of anything else, let me know. Okay, I will. Cool. Ooh, big yawn. Wow. Sorry. Okay. So that right there is super damning evidence as far as his witness statement not being that because it's interesting to me, right? So Kinoshita is the only one who saw Akechi leaving out the back door of the cafe that night, right? But he didn't see his face. And judging it as being like, well, he's the only other person who could have been wearing our cafe uniform, that's not a strong... That's a pretty flimsy witness statement at that point. Like, at best, you could say, okay, sure, but let's talk to Akechi about whether or not his uniform is missing or not. Or let's find out whether or not there are any missing uniforms in general, because that could easily be something that somebody could appropriate for the purposes of committing a crime like that. I think we're going to find out some wacky shit here. Not to mention the fact that I think the girl is absolutely hiding shit. The girl that he was dating that cheated on him. I think she is probably a huge jackpot of info that we need. You're Imagawa, aren't you? That's right. Who are you? I'm looking into the Cafe Alps murder from 6 years ago. What? They say you weren't at the cafe the day of the murder. Is that true? Yes. I spent the whole day at home. Alone? No. Some friends came over and we played video games. And these friends corroborated your alibi? That's right. So it wasn't me. You know anything about the person seen fleeing the scene? No, I don't know a thing. Can you think of anybody who'd want to kill Oda? Well, I don't know anything. Don't ask me. This guy sucks. About the murder weapon. Your prints weren't found on it, were they? next? You're gonna say just start saying I wore gloves. Well, you're wrong. I wasn't anywhere near the cafe that day. Guess it stands to reason your prints wouldn't be on it, huh? All right. I don't know anything about the murder. Just leave me alone. This guy's got a persecution complex. I didn't do anything, honest. You have to believe me. Everyone's saying I'm the murderer, aren't they? Aren't they? No, nobody's saying anything about you. I don't believe you. Everyone hated me at that cafe. They used to harass me. They harassed you? Someone even stole my wallet, CDs, and uniform out of my locker on the day of the murder. What? Did you tell the cops this? Are you sure the police didn't pick them up as evidence? Absolutely sure. Someone was harassing me, I tell you. Somebody stole Imagawa's things, eh? Hmm. Pieces are starting to fall into place a little bit here. Interesting. Oh, God. My body is complaining because Nakamichi Popo, Nakamichi Street Popo, and Mock Bowling. Let's go to Mock Bowling next. Nakamichi Street is down here. No, is here. Popo, Popo. There's a Popo. What? No, there isn't. Hold on. Oh, in the alley. In the alley there is. So they're counting the alley as part of it. Yeah, okay. I gotcha. Yeah, let's go to Mock Bowling next. But my body is currently trying to tell me, just complaining and yelling about the fact that I haven't had coffee yet because I woke up. Well, we'll just say super late. We'll just say super late and call and leave it at that. No more, no other information needs to be given. So I'm gonna go grab some coffee really quick that I got started after I woke up. I will be right back. Just give me a minute or two. What's like 2 hours ago, Slimmy? You mean when I woke up? No. Like an hour and a half ago when I woke up. I guess yeah, about close to 2 hours ago. Somewhere in the middle. What's this? Are you here who I'm here to see? Why is she lit up over here? No, I'm here to see her. What's this? Telling you, you really need me as a bouncer for this place. This is a dangerous area. You probably have all kinds of trouble and people getting into fights all the time, right? That's where I come in. I'll jump in and settle things before they get out of hand. What do you say? It sounds pretty great. Sounds pretty good, right? No, we have the police for that kind of thing. Police these days don't do nothing. Or are you trying to say you don't think I could do the job? Huh? No, I didn't say that. It's deal then. I'll watch over this business from now on. I guess 50% of the profits ought to be a fair wage. What? Oh, wait. I didn't even answer yet. And 50% of the profits, isn't that a bit much? Stop hemming and hawing. It's getting annoying. Are you trying to piss me off on purpose? Huh? What a moron this guy is. Should I help the employee out? Of course we should. Fuck this guy. Guess I better help. Okay, stop right there. You're being a nuisance. Hey, what did you say? Who do you think you're talking to? You. I'm not impressed by the way you handle business. What family are you from? See, mister? What? This punk showed up just in time. Great chance for me to show you my skills. Now watch closely. I'm watching. Hey, buddy. You're just trying to elbow your way in and make a buck off this business for yourself, aren't you? What? I believe that's you you're talking about. Hey, shut your trap. I'm the muscle of this business now. There's no room for you. Oh my god, this guy. Oh shit. Sorry about the mess on the lanes. Whoa. No way. You'd never make it as a bouncer. Get the hell out of here. You're no joke. What's your name? Kazuma. Kazuma Kiryu. Kazuma. Okay, I've got it. I'm gonna leave now. Sorry about the trouble. Thank you very much. Yeah, no problem, bud. I'm sure that's not the last we'll see of that guy. Are you Sawako Usami? Yes. What do you want? I'm looking into the murder that happened at Cafe Alps 6 years ago. There's nothing left to say. Akechi might not have killed Oda. If we're gonna find out the truth, I need to hear your account of what happened that day. You were there when Akechi confronted Oda, weren't you? Yeah. I mean, I was the reason they fought, so of course I was there. What happened after that? Did you see Akechi kill Oda? I took off, so don't ask me. Took off? Do you have any idea what it feels like to have your significant other walk in on you when you're cheating? Talk about awkward. And it would have been even more awkward if other people started coming in to see what the fuss was all about. So I ran out the back door. What did you do after you left the cafe? I went home, but Yuichi followed me. We spent the night talking about breaking up. Of course, I never imagined he'd already killed Mr. Oda. So you're saying you didn't see Akechi kill Oda? That's right. And I told the police that too. So nobody actually saw Akechi kill Oda, eh? Tell me about the person seen fleeing the scene. I don't know anything about that. I left the cafe before Yuichi did, so I don't know how he left. Right, okay. See, I think what happened... this is just my opinion. I think what happened is when she ran, he followed, and she didn't realize that he was following her so quickly. I think whatever happened in the locker room with Oda happened after Yuichi left. And I think that what happened is there's a window of time now that we've just established where prior to the other guy coming in and supposedly seeing Yuichi leave, before that happens, but after she leaves, Yuichi and Oda are in the locker room by themselves. And there's this open back door to the cafe after she flees. So anybody could have come in during that time frame. In fact, even more likely, Yuichi skedaddles as well, and then somebody comes in, finds Oda is still in a compromised position, takes advantage of it, and then is the one seen leaving by the other employee who comes around the corner. It doesn't help us know who, because we still haven't established that there's any other motive for somebody else to have wanted to kill Oda. But we can pretty safely say there is a gap in time that is not accounted for very efficiently between the witness statements that we have, which is beneficial for Yuichi. Any idea why somebody would kill Oda? Are you trying to be funny? No, I mean, besides your relationship with Oda. Did he do anything to make anybody else mad? I don't know. The police would have known if he had any loans out or anything like that, right? I wasn't particularly close to him, really. We just ended up hooking up that night. I see. Maybe Akechi really did kill Oda after seeing him with Sawako. No. They didn't find your fingerprints on the murder weapon, right? That's right. They've only found Yuichi's, if I remember right. We were constantly replacing the customers' ashtrays with clean ones. But I guess Yuichi was the only one who touched that particular ashtray that day. I guess he was just unlucky. Yuichi took good care of the customers and replaced their ashtrays often. And I think he must have noticed that one was chipped. Okay. Oops. Are we through here? I'm supposed to be working. Right. Sorry. Thanks for the help. What is it that you would say your job is? Something to do with shoes? You know what? It doesn't matter. It's not important, obviously. Hey, Mr. Kiryu, do you have a minute? Huh? Oh, not you again. Mr. Kiryu, make me your apprentice. Huh? What the hell are you talking about? I've always wanted to be a tough guy, so I've done bouncer work from city to city. I like to fight people to test my own strength. So that's why you were behaving like that back in the bowling alley, eh? Well, we're still in the bowling alley, Kiryu. Let's not sound too silly here. Yeah, but I'm not going to do that anymore. Mr. Kiryu, make me your apprentice. I want to retrain under you. Wait, just slow down. And I don't take on apprentices, and just call me Cosmo. Please, I'm begging you. What's your name, anyway? Keigo Gino. I see. Okay, Gino. I can't take you on as an apprentice, but I will show you a good place. A good place? Yeah, the Underground Coliseum. Underground Coliseum? What's that? It's like an underground fighting ring. The place is full of strong fighters. Never heard of it, but it sounds perfect for me. Cosmo, will you show me how to get there? Sure. Thank you. So he's another tag match partner. Here it is. Wow. Kazuma, thank you. I really owe you. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I can't wait to fight. I'm gonna go ahead in. Good luck. Thanks. Maybe he's a new fighter on a roster somewhere that I just unlocked as well. No, he's not a tag match person, I guess. I don't know. Does he show up in the tag? No. Interesting. Well, now that I'm all the fucking way down here, I guess I'll run all the way back out. Okie dokie. So we need to go to... So we've gotten statements from... Sawako and Masaru and Tadashi. We gotta talk to Soichiro. Currently employed at Nakamichi Street Popo, which is the one in the alley. That's a long ways away, but I don't think I'll get there any faster with a taxi. No, I totally would. I should have just gotten a taxi right away. Sorry, dude. No. I should have just gone the other way. Oh, Slimmy, if you're still here, I was going to ask you, how's your 4-job Fiesta run going? Are you still doing it? Or did you finish it? Are you Asai, former employee of Cafe Alps? Yeah, who are you? Kazum Kiryu. I want to ask you about the murder that happened at Cafe Alps 6 years ago. Oh, that. So what do you want to know? You were at the cafe at the time of the murder, weren't you? Yeah. I think I was closing the register. It was after we closed for the night. So you didn't go anywhere near the murder scene, the locker room? Of course not. I mean, why would I? I was still working, wasn't I? It's acting kind of funny. Do you know anything about the person seen running from the scene of the crime? No, I don't know anything. I only found out a murder had taken place when Kinoshita showed up, looking as white as a sheet. I didn't see the murderer at all. I see. Oh, but I did see Oda's body. Ugh, I can still see it. Ugh. So Asai went to the locker room after the murderer escaped, eh? Do you know anybody with a motive to kill Oda? Well, you reap what you sow. Whoa, what? I mean, it was bad enough he was always messing around at the workplace. Going after another employee's woman? Get a grip. Make it sound like he'd slept with other women at the cafe before. Oh. Yeah, I saw him hook up with another woman there once. Another woman? Got a name for her? Yeah, I think her last name was Saito. I guess she was dating Oda at the time of the murder. What? I don't see anybody named Saito listed among the people related to the case. She'd already quit the cafe by that time. I heard she still hung around Oda, though. So Oda was dating somebody at the time, eh? That's interesting. Your fingerprints weren't found on the murder weapon. Isn't that strange, seeing as you were one of the waiters? Oh. I just didn't like doing the ashtrays. I always left that to other people. So it's pretty natural my fingerprints wouldn't be on it, I guess. I see. This job is pretty boring, so thanks for helping me kill some time. And you can ask me whenever you want. Thanks. By the way, do you remember Imagawa? Imagawa? Sounds familiar. Your coworker from Cafe Alps. Oh, Mr. Gloomy? Yeah, I remember him now. Imagawa says he had things stolen from his locker. You know anything about that, Asai? What? You think I had something to do with it? No. No. But if you know anything, I need you to tell me. You really think I did it, though, don't you? Okay, you got me. I did do it. Oh, shit, he did? What did you take? I was just trying to make a quick buck or two. All I took was a wallet and some CDs I sold off later. Oh, so not the uniform. Anything else? Huh? Like what? You didn't steal Imagawa's uniform? Yeah. Uniform? How would I make any money off of that? The only things I took were his wallet and the CDs, like I said. So that's all Asai took, eh? Maybe the police really did take the uniform. His second state. Okay, hold on a second. Oh, we need to do another round here. We need to do another round of everybody except the guy at the... Well, actually, you know what? I go back to him and tell him what that guy just told me. Because that is pretty surprising. But, like, does the current... Oh, get out of my face. Does the current manager of the Alps remember anything about that guy being bullied? Ooh, a bat. I want that. Sir, if you'd be so kind. Oh, there it is. Give me a bat. This thing doesn't do shit for damage. Okay, maybe there isn't. Maybe I just got lucky. Maybe there isn't a whole lot here that I need to go back and re-talk to these people about. The dialogue didn't seem to change there at all. And no new questions popped up. So maybe I just got lucky that I did it in the order that I did. To get that information about the fact that his uniform was missing, but not. I'm still going to go back and talk to him about the fact that this guy admits that he took um, he took his wallet and his CDs. Although in a certain regard, I'm kind of validating his persecution complex, but I just want to see if he has any more thoughts or information he would want to give me based on the fact that we can confirm that he was being targeted by some bullying. Okay, that's fine. Not going to bother with the girl again. I don't think we found anything. Well, that's not true. We have actually absolutely found something that might be of interest to her. Because she may or may not know that she was cheating on her boyfriend with a guy who was cheating on his girlfriend. No, nothing new popped up there. Okay, well, I just thought it was worth a shot. Since there did seem to be one combo effort there of talking to Imagawa before talking to Asai that led to some additional information cropping up. Because if we didn't know that he had stuff stolen from him, we wouldn't have pressed him about the stolen stuff. So I just wanted to make sure that I was like kind of doing my due diligence there of being like, well, maybe that information is news to other people and would be worth confirming. Oh, fuck, he's behind me. Thought he was in front of me. So we have all this extra information now. I'm not sure what to do with it yet, though. Wires? That's not what I wanted to do. He just wasn't sturdy enough to get enough heat that I could do a pliers heat move. If there is one. I was going to try. Okay, so with all of these statements that we've gathered, do I have any new... Kage might know something too. Oh shit, I don't know who that is. Who's Kage? Oh. Oh, yeah. Okay. Where would I find him? They called him, they called him the... Oh, God, I can't remember what his title was in the other games. When we first met him in, Yakuza 1 and then throughout Yakuza 2, they called him the... Something about a flower. I can't remember it, though. So that's the only way that I, like, think of him in my mind. I forgot he obviously has a real name, but I didn't remember what it was. So he's either up Millennium Tower, which I may or may not be able to go into, or he's in Purgatory, which is a long ways away, but we could go back. I don't know if I can go underground or not, but yeah, see, we still can't go Millennium Tower, so I think that means that the only place we should even try to find him would be in Purgatory, to see if we can wrap up some of the information that we got in a nice tiny bow with some stuff he may be able to pull up from 6 years ago. That transition is awkward every time. Wait, it wasn't my hideout, was it? No. He'd have to be down here in the palace. Is the only place that I could think that I'd be able to find him. Besides Millennium Tower. Because and I think maybe his setup up there got blown up? Potentially? I don't remember. The beginning of the game, though, when Kashiwagi got killed. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. Did it. Hey, Kazuma. I hear you're looking into the Cafe Alps murder. Huh? How'd you hear about that? Don't underestimate my information network. I know everything that goes on in this town. I guess you do. The Florist of Sai. That's what it was. He was the Florist of Sai in the first two games. Got it. So, do you know anything about the murder? I have the police reports in my database. What do you want to know? Murder weapon. Tell me about the murder weapon. The same type of ashtray was found all over the cafe, but there was one significant difference between those and the murder weapon. Oh yeah? What was that? The edge of the murder weapon ashtray was chipped. Do you know how that happened? Day of the murder, a customer knocked the ashtray off the table onto the floor, chipping it. Akechi noticed it while he was cleaning up. At closing time later, decided to bring it out to the dumpster to throw it away. That's when he passed by the locker room and saw his girlfriend cheating. So there's no doubt Akechi touched the murder weapon that day, eh? Nope. Normally the ashtray would have been washed and all the fingerprints would have disappeared. But Akechi noticed that that particular ashtray had been chipped, so instead of washing it, he decided to throw it out. And by that twist of fate, the prints of everybody who touched it that day were left on it. So all the fingerprints on the murder weapon were made the day of the murder, eh? I have the police reports. Ask about the fingerprints. Tell me about the fingerprints on the ashtray. Whoa. These are all the prints taken from the ashtray. Look at all of them. Those three are the same. Prints outlined in red match Akechi's. This is apparently the evidence that led directly to his arrest. What about the other fingerprints? Well, one thing's for sure, none of them match the prints of any of the other employees at Cafe Alps at the time. They're thought to be from customers who visited the cafe that day, probably 2 or 3 people. And one of these sets of prints might be from the real murderer? It's certainly possible. So the real murderer's print could be on the ashtray. You should be able to get more information from the people related to the case. If you haven't talked to all of them yet, you better do that. All right. Probably in the form of asking them about the fingerprints. Since I have that now. I should have came and done that first. I didn't realize. What was the other question I asked him? About the murder weapon itself? They might be able to tell me something about that as well. I'll go wrangle them all up again. I've talked to everybody related to the case, but it doesn't look like it's going to be easy to prove Yuichi Akechi's innocence. I should meet up with the kid at Cafe Alps. Oh, okay. Maybe we're good. Maybe we're actually good. We need to talk to this girl that Oda was dating at the time. That's what I think. She wasn't... Everybody keeps saying they don't match the current Cafe Alps employees' fingerprints. She wasn't a current employee anymore. Plus, here... Get this. Here's a scenario for you. Oh. There she is. That's her. Isn't it? Here... Check this out. What if she was waiting out back for Oda to get off that night so they could go together? She sees the chick that he cheated on her with run out, and then sees her boyfriend run out after her, and gathers some bits of the situation, heads inside, finds him with his pants down, tries to figure out what's going on, finds out what happened. Or even, she comes in between the girl leaving and Akechi following her. And she sees Akechi and Oda arguing and overhears the conversation. She waits for Akechi to run after her. Leaving Oda alone, she goes in and murders him. Funny seeing you here. What's up? I'm taking out one of my clients. We were nearby, so I thought I'd drop in and see you. Taking your client out, eh? Don't you mean you're going to one of those host clubs? My client just happens to like host clubs. Really, it's just a coincidence. Speaking of which, isn't your perfume a bit strong tonight? Oh, really? I didn't think so, but... Oh, look at the time. Okay, I've got to go. That Yuko. Who is that, Kinoshito? Who's that woman talking to Kinoshita? Kinoshita's wife, Yuko. Kinoshita's wife? How did you know that? She actually used to work here. Mm-hmm. That's how I know her. She worked here? Really? Yes, but I don't think she's involved in the case. She'd already quit by the time of the murder. Mm-hmm. She wasn't on the security tapes of the customer area, so that indicates she wasn't at the cafe that day. Uh-huh. I see. It doesn't sound like Kinoshita's wife Yuko is involved in the case, but maybe I should look into her anyway. Uh-huh. getting some suspicious vibes from person who it seems like might play around a little bit. She said she was going to a host club. Well, I only know one host club. Did you say anything different? All right, that's fine. Unfortunately, I've got an in with the guys who work there, so it shouldn't be too hard to run some information past them and see if I can't get some reliable info. Is that? That looks like Kinoshita's wife, Yuko. Hey, Yuya! Kazuma, what brings you here? Yuya, what can you tell me about that woman over there? That woman? You mean Yuko? She's been a regular customer of ours for years. What do you want with her? She looks awfully rich for somebody so young. She manages a startup. Her company got popular making products targeted at young women, and it's been growing pretty fast over the last 4 or 5 years. Is that so? Oh, Yuya, who is that? I haven't seen him here before. Is he a new host? Ah, Yuko. This is Kazuma. We owe a lot to this man here, and no, he's not a host. Oh, I see. Well, that's unfortunate. This is my company, by the way. If you ever need anything, just give me a call. Thanks. Yuko's business card. Bye now. Thought tonight was fantastic. We'll be looking forward to seeing you again. Oh, Yuya. Thank you so much, my dude. Do you have any more info, though? Let's check this business card out. Looked at all the information I can right now. I should go back and see Detective Maida. What is that? Hold on, what was that? Why is there dialogue coming from the other side of this door? Think about it, Kazuki. A second club would take Stardust to a whole new level. It's not gonna happen. My mind is made up on this. Always the stubborn one. I'll be back later. Hi, Kazuma. What's going on? Not much. But who was he? Has one of the families been paying you a visit? No, that was Kyogo. He's a businessman in charge of all kinds of host and hostess clubs. Lately, he's been trying to get us to open another Stardust. A second club? Yeah. The Stardust name has really taken off, so he wants us to expand to another region. And where would that be? Yokohama. He thinks it would be a good way to avoid the tight competition in Tokyo and plant some new roots. Kyogoku's group doesn't have a club with any star power in Yokohama. That's why he's offering me capital to really promote the Stardust name there. I see. But I have zero desire for a second club. What I have here is more than enough. What a down-to-earth guy. What a bro. You know what I just realized? I've never looked around in here for wait, do I have all the locker keys? I do have all the locker keys, so I'm not going to waste time doing that. Hey, Kazuma. Did you want to talk to the owner about something? Not really. Just dropped in to say hello. I see. Hope you don't mind. But I'm talking some important business right now. Think we could chat some other time? No problem. Sorry to interrupt. Tell me again, Eiji. Just what is it you're getting at? I'm saying you have to open up a second club to keep the Stardust image hot. Think about the potential, Yuya. Kazuki could stay here in Kamurocho, and you could manage the second club in Yokohama. It'd be great for everybody. I'm manager here. What would happen to this club without me? Kazuki can take care of it. I'm telling you, man. You gotta break away from Kazuki and do your own thing at the second club. Don't you want to go independent? That's enough, Eiji. You might not know since you haven't been here long, but what the owner says is what goes. And he says we're not opening a second club, so that's it. Come on, man. He's holding you back. We can talk about this later. You better get back to work. Damn it. Sorry about that. Kyogoku's got everybody all fired up about opening a second club. That's understandable. Expanding the business like that would be a big change. You got that right. But we've got enough to worry about here just trying to keep this place on top. Make yourself at home, Kazuma. I'm sorry, but I've still got some work to take care of. That's fine, bud. Who else can I talk to about this potential bullshit that's going down, huh? Is that the end of that? No, that can't be the end. There's more to this than what meets the eye. Yeah, right there. See? We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Have I had any other sub-stories pop open in here? I'd really like to solve this murder first, though. Okay, we've got a green indicator of where we're supposed to go now, which is nice. Oh, the detective again. The detective on the case. That's who Maida is. Oh. Kazuma? It's Yuya. Everything okay? I need to talk to you in person. Could you meet me at the Bantam Bar? It's right across from Millennium Tower. Bantam, huh? Got it. Wow, how convenient. I was headed there myself. Yuya is so considerate. Picking a place that I was already going to. What a guy. My hero. I guess we'll see which one triggers first here. Oh, I didn't even see you. Your stupid leopard print dumbass jacket. Didn't even see this motherfucker. Hello, knife guy. Would you like to give that knife to me? Whoa. Holy shit, dude. You calm the fuck down? Get the hell out of here, dude. Stupid. Oh, it's a full suit. He's got a full leopard print suit. My bad. He has even worse taste than I realized. Hey, Kazuma, thanks for taking the time to meet us like this. Yeah, we appreciate it. This is Eiji. I think you met before, right? Right. So what did you want to talk to me about? Well, it's about the second club. We're wondering if you could talk to Kazuki about it. Maybe loosen him up a bit. Whether I'd be the manager of the new club or not, I'd really just want to get the Stardust name more recognition. Kyogoku can get us a building, and his group is even willing to provide us with the staff we need. I mean, it'd be huge. How can I pass up a chance like this? Did you talk to Kazuki about it? He wouldn't hear of it. The second club is out of the question as far as he's concerned, and I've got nothing to say to him. I know you could do it, Yuya. You've been the manager of Kamurocho's hottest club forever now. You're totally cut out to run the new place, too. Man, think about it. I'd follow you there, bro. And I bet there's a lot of other hosts who'd love to work in Yokohama if you were the boss, too. Yuya, club affairs are your business, not mine. Kazuki must have his reasons. I guess you're right. I'll go have another talk with him myself. Well done, Kiryu. Well done. No reason to intercede here. Nope, I still don't see anything off about any of this. You mind? Oh, it's you. So, did you find proof of Akechi's innocence yet? What was that you were looking at? This? This is the list of evidence we made during the investigation 6 years ago. You're taking such a hard look at this case, I thought I'd better take another glance myself. Can I see that? I guess, but you won't find anything wrong with any of it. I honestly can't figure out why you think Akechi is innocent. Wait a minute, what's this? What now? I finally got it. Was it really this simple all along? No mistake about it. Somebody framed Akechi. What? Are you serious? Yep. I'll explain everything, but first I need you to gather up everybody related to the case. But it'll turn out fine. You'll see. Okay. Just don't blame me if it doesn't. I'll get everybody together at Cafe Alps. That ought to work, right? Yeah, that's fine. Oh, shit! Got all the evidence I need. It's time to reveal what really happened 6 years ago. Fuck yeah, dude. Okay, but I want to read the list of evidence first. So that I know what's going to happen. Here it is. Oh, it doesn't tell me. No, it doesn't give me, like... No. Hold on. Can I... Man... Oh, wait. Dated a woman named Saito. Oh, fuck. I forgot they told us that. Shit. Alright, well, that's not good. I don't know if I know what happened. Oh, wait, Yuko Saito! I know what connected it. I think I know what connected it for... I think there's something on this list from her company. Gain attention for managing a startup that develops and sells products for women. That startup? There's something on the evidence list on the... what is it called? Yeah, the evidence list. List of evidence the cops seized from the crime scene. There is something from her company that's on that list. So she runs out. Yuko comes in through the open back door because she was waiting for Oda because they were dating. Finds out from Oda and Akechi arguing what happened. Akechi leaves to chase after well, the only problem with that theory is, wouldn't Akechi have said that? Wouldn't his statement have included something along the lines of, this other person came in? So he can't have seen her either. But I think even then, if she waits until after Usami leaves and Akechi leaves, and then goes into the locker room and finds Oda and finds out what happened, I think she could still kill him, take the uniform, and leave before Kinoshita comes around the corner into the hallway back there and sees and has a chance to see what's going on and sees her leaving in the uniform. That's gotta be it. And she dropped something. She dropped something, which was her fatal flaw. The mistake in her plan. Did I finish Bantam already? Yeah. That has to be what happened, though. I mean, okay, it doesn't have to be. The game could surprise me. The game could surprise me with a twist that I don't see coming. I'm not one who generally figures out what's going to happen in like a murder mystery before it's or what happened before it's revealed. That's just not it's just not really my thing. I'm not good at it. One more, please. I am excited though. I think I figured it out this time. I think I actually got it. Which is very exciting. This honestly has been like a fun little murder mystery side thing. Like, it's actually really fun. As somebody who generally doesn't care for this type of storytelling, and I don't really like reading mystery novels. I don't like watching the the detective shows and movies. Like, those just don't really do it for me. So I don't know, something about this, the way that this one was set up, just really clicked in my brain, I think. Oh my goodness. All right, I think I'm gonna hang everybody in suspense for 10 minutes before we can find out the truth of what happened 6 years ago. Because I think we should take about a 10-minute break here, get a chance to get some food, or get up and stretch for a bit, or whatever. But we're gonna do that. We'll take 10, and then we'll find out the truth behind what happened. I will be back. All right. Murder mystery reveal time. Let's do it. Well, I did as you asked, Detective. I closed the cafe and kicked everyone out. Now, what's this all about? Kazuma and his friend here would like to talk to all of you. I have you here for one reason, and one reason alone. I'm sure you all remember the murder that took place here 6 years ago. The victim was Kazuo Oda, the manager of this cafe at the time. One of the employees, Yuichi Akechi, was arrested for his murder. But did Akechi really kill Oda? I'd like to ask each of you to think back on that day. Do any of you have any evidence, any truly conclusive evidence, that Akechi was actually the one who killed Oda? I've been struggling with one question since the day of that murder. Could Akechi actually be innocent? But before I could find out for sure, an article of mine indicating Akechi as the murderer was published. But thanks to Kazuma here, we finally arrived at the truth of what happened 6 years ago. But if Akechi is innocent, that means someone else is guilty. Exactly. But what do you base all this on, Kazuma? I need to show them proof of Yuichi Akechi's innocence. What shall I give? Alright. For starters, it doesn't prove anything? Oh. I need to show why I believe Yuichi Akechi is innocent. All I have to do is poke a hole in the charges against him. Okay, sorry. So, didn't get a look at his face. What? This? Sawako Usami was the one who saw Akechi and Oda fight the day of the murder, isn't that right? That's right, but I left in the middle of it. In other words, she didn't actually see Akechi kill Oda. Exactly. And nobody else but Usami saw Oda and Akechi fight. So we can't conclude Yuichi Akechi killed Oda, and that means the charges against him could be wrong. Ha! Sorry, but that doesn't hold water. What? Akechi's prints were on the weapon used to kill Oda. That's solid evidence to prove Akechi did it. Is that all you have to say? Huh? What do you mean? This was your case. You ought to know Akechi's fingerprints on the murder weapon alone weren't enough to convict him. I don't follow you. Spell it out for us, will you? There's evidence I should show them now. The other fingerprints on the ashtray? The ashtray used as the murder weapon hadn't been washed because it was supposed to be thrown out. It had prints on it from people other than Akechi, so Akechi's prints on it alone don't prove his guilt. Detective, is that true? Yes, it's just as he says. So you admit it might not have been my brother? Yeah. But that's still not enough to prove somebody else did it. Somebody witnessed Akechi fleeing the scene. That's another piece of solid evidence. Think about it. Why wouldn't you think the person seen running away from the scene is the criminal? No point in running away if you didn't do anything, right? What do you have to say about that? Kazuma, do you have any information to refute the witness statements about Akechi? Of course I do. Of course I do. Of course I do. Kinoshita, you saw Akechi fleeing the scene, right? Yes, I did. Are you sure? I'm not lying. I'm sure I saw him. But you didn't see the face of the person fleeing the scene. You said that, right? That's right. I only saw his back. So then it's possible you saw somebody else. Is that all you got? The police wouldn't have arrested Akechi on just any old vague evidence, you know. There was also something that proved the person Kinoshita saw was, in fact, Akechi. And what was that? The man Kinoshita saw leaving the scene of the crime was wearing a Cafe Alps waiter's uniform. The only waiters employed at Cafe Alps at the time were Kinoshita, Asai, Imagawa, and Akechi. Security tapes showed Kinoshita and Asai in the customer area during the time of the murder, and we confirmed Imagawa was at home then. Therefore, by process of elimination, the only waiter Kinoshita could have seen was Akechi. He's Kazuma, is that true? No, it's absolutely possible that the person Kinoshita saw was not Akechi. I have a statement to prove it. Well then, why don't you share this information with us? I have a statement that proves the person seen leaving Cafe House might not have been Akechi 80% now. Okay, so the one where we know that stuff was stolen. It was actually another crime committed at this cafe the day of their murder 6 years ago. Another crime? That's the first I've heard of it. Imagawa's uniform disappeared from his locker in the Cafe Alps locker room on that day. Imagawa's uniform? Yes, my uniform disappeared from the locker I put it in. Since you weren't present the day of the murder, when did you notice it was missing? The day after Mr. Oda was murdered, I came to work. The police were investigating, so I couldn't go in. Once the police left, I looked in my locker and saw that my uniform was gone. Come on, so it was taken as evidence by the police. I'm sure there was plenty missing from the crime scene. You're wrong. Someone was definitely harassing me. Everyone teased me. Asai, why don't you tell them you took my uniform? You took everything else. The uniform must have been you too. You gonna cry? Harassment or evidence, it doesn't have anything to do with Akechi or this case. No, Imagawa's uniform is the key to this case. Huh? What do you mean? I'll show you right now. 2 pieces of evidence proving what happened to Imagawa's uniform. So we have this, and the other piece of evidence is I don't know. Is it this again? Is it both of his statements? I don't think so. Oh, and the list of evidence. Look at the list of evidence I borrowed from you. There's no waiter's uniform on it. This here? You're right. I don't see any waiter's uniform listed. In other words, the uniform disappeared before the police showed up. If the police didn't confiscate it, who could have taken it? It was Asai, right? No, not Asai. It looks like Asai really did steal things from you, but he wasn't trying to harass you. He just wanted money. Your wallet and CDs make sense, but your uniform wouldn't have been worth anything. Well, then, who did it? Oh, you mean the murderer took it? Exactly. The criminal wanted to make it look like somebody else committed the crime, so they stole the waiter's uniform and changed into it. Then, as soon as somebody came by, they hid their face and ran out the back exit. Is that true? So you're saying the person who stole Imagawa's uniform and fled the scene is the real criminal? That's right. And who might that be? The real criminal is... Boop, 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 bomp. Yes, this is the only person it could have been. Drop this knowledge bomb on us, Kiryu.
Kiryu-san.
Yes.
それではその人物の名前を教えてください。6年前、小田さんを殺し、明智さんに罪をかぶせた事件の真犯人とは一体？
犯人はお前だ。木下優子、お前が小田を殺した真犯人だ。
Her? Are you serious? I can't believe it. What? Yuko killed Oda. An interesting theory. But why would I kill Mr. Oda? I didn't have any reason to do anything like that. Yeah, Yuichi Akechi's motive was Usami's relationship with Oda. Exactly how are Yuko and Oda connected? Ho. Need something to prove that? Don't worry. I got it. Oda was dating somebody at the time of the murder. Somebody who used to work as a waitress at Cafe Alps. What? Is that true? Yes. And her last name was Saito. Saito? That's Yuko's maiden name. I hear you worked at this cafe until just before the time of the murder. Oh. Yuko and Mr. Oda dated? I didn't know that. Yuko, is that true? I don't have to answer that. Yuko. If Oda was dating Yuko, then Usami wasn't the only one cheating. Mm-hmm. Oda was cheating too. And that means Yuko also had motive to kill Oda. So anyone with motive is a killer? You haven't done anything but hypothesize. Exactly. You've only talked about possibilities. Do you have any conclusive evidence that she committed the murder? Conclusive evidence. Like fingerprints? If I only had something with Yuko's fingerprints on it. So I think this is where... Oh. Business card. This is the evidence. Is that my business card? This business card has your fingerprints on it. We should be able to compare the prints on this card to the ones on the murder weapon. Oh, give me that business card. Let's check it out right now. This is... I did not see this. Finish analyzing the prints on the card. These are Yuko Kinoshita's prints. Okay. These are the prints on the ashtray. There's a... Look at that. Second row, second from the left. There's a match. The prints on Yuko's business card are the same as the ones on the murder weapon. I don't believe it. How do you explain that? Even if my prints are on that ashtray, so what? Why does that change anything? What do you mean? I ate at Alps the day of the murder. I must have just touched the ashtray while I was here. She's right. If she was here as a customer, there's nothing criminal about touching an ashtray, right? No, Yuko's lying. I should call her out on it. We do have a statement. Yuko doesn't remember coming to Cafe Alps on the day of the crime. No, you're lying. What? There's no record of you coming to the cafe the day of the murder. Right, Detective Maida? He's right. We had Cafe Alps employees watch all the security tapes, and they gave statements that no other cafe employees, former or otherwise, visited the cafe that day. Right, Mr. Kinoshita? That's right. I'd seen Yuko's face before, so I would have noticed if she was on those tapes. She definitely wasn't. Which means you didn't come to Cafe Alps on the day of the murder as a customer. So why were your fingerprints on the ashtray then? Fine, maybe it wasn't on the day of the murder. It might have been the day before. It's not that big of an issue. Nope, you had to have been here the day of the murder. But not as a customer, as the real murderer. Uh-huh. The only people who could have prints on the murder weapon were those who visited the day of the murder. How do you come to that conclusion? And now for the coup de grace. I just need something to prove when the prints on the murder weapon were made. And for that, we have Kage's statement. All fingerprints on the ashtray were made on the day of the incident. The ashtrays here are washed clean every day, and your prints were still on the murder weapon ashtray. That means you had to have been here the day of the murder. But the ashtray had been dropped on the floor and chipped by a customer the day of the murder. Yuichi Akechi saw the chip and, instead of washing the ashtray, decided to throw it out. Since you couldn't have come to the cafe as a customer that day, there's only one time you could have left your prints on the ashtray. And that time is after Akechi dropped the ashtray in the locker room when he witnessed Usami cheating with Oda. Sometime after Akechi left and before Kinoshita came to check up on him, you entered the locker room and murdered Oda. Then you put on Imagawa's uniform and left through the rear door. Am I wrong? Yuko, is what Kazuma says true? It'll only get worse if you stay silent. Shut up! I told you I didn't do it. I give up. Yuko, I'm putting an end to this. What? Do you know something, Mr. Kinoshita? I knew you came to the cafe that day, Yuko. What? How? Your scent. It was very faint, but I could smell the perfume you always wear there at the crime scene. But... Why didn't you say this earlier? I'd been infatuated with Yuko ever since our time of working in the Alps together. That's why I knew the scent of her perfume the minute I smelled it. But you didn't say anything to the cops, That's accomplice. That's accomplice. Withholding information. Sometime after the murder, I happened to run into her again. Eventually, we started dating. One day, I brought up the subject of the murder, and the expression on her face just changed. She started giving me evasive answers. That's when I was sure Yuko had been there the day of the crime. Well, I'll be. But I still don't know exactly what that meant. I didn't know exactly what that meant. Or I should say, I didn't want to know what that meant. When I found out Mr. Kiryu was looking into that old crime, I decided to keep it all a secret. But now Yuichi Akechi has suffered 6 years for a crime he didn't commit, all because I didn't say anything. It's all my fault. If I had just spoken up, none of this would have happened. Gee, Mr. Kinoshita. Boom.
さあ、もう言い逃れはできないぜ。
優子さん、今一度尋ねます。あなたが小田さんを殺したんですか？
そうよ。私がやったのよ。
Fucking busted. Will you give a statement that Yuichi Akechi is innocent? Yes, it was me. Mr. Akechi had nothing to do with the murder. Yuko, how could you have done such a thing? Was it really just because Oda was cheating? Of course that's what it was about. He even promised to marry me. Oh. Wow. Wowee.
事件が起こった日、あの日は彼の小田さんの誕生日だった。
She killed him on his
だから私は
birthday?
彼を驚かそうと思ってプレゼントを持ってお店に向かったの。もうお店も閉まっている時刻だったから裏口から入ってロッカールームに向かったわ。でもそこで見たのは他の女と浮気してる彼の姿だった。私はとっさに身を引いて隠れた。落ち着いて目の前で何が起きてるのか理解しようと努めたわ。そのすぐ後に明智さんがやってきた。明智さんはロッカールームの中を覗いて小田さんと宇佐美さんの浮気現場を目撃すると手に持っていた灰皿を落とし小田さんに掴みかかっていったわ。言い争うような声が聞こえた後すぐに宇佐美さんがロッカールームから出てきて裏口から店の外へ出て行ったわ。すぐに明智さんも宇佐美さんの後を追って店の外へ出て行
So
って
not quite the way I described it, but close.
明智さんと宇佐美さんが出て行った後私はロッカールームの中へ入っていった。小田さんは私の姿を見てすごいびっくりしたみたいだったけど浮気がバレたことが分かると開き直って別れ話を切り出してきたわ。宇佐美と一緒になるつもりだから
Wow.
別れてくれってね。その言葉を聞いた途端完全に頭に血が上っちゃって気がついたら近くに落ちてた灰皿で小田さんを殴っていたわ。それからは桐生さんが言った通りよ。私はロッカーにあった制服に着替えてわざと裏口の前で誰かが来るのを待っていた。少しして誰かが客席の方からやってきたから顔を見られないようにして裏口から出て行った。それで部外者の自分には絶対に疑いがかからないだろうって思ったわ。
Wow. Several years passed. I ran into Kinoshita and we eventually got married. I started selling things as a hobby and soon it turned into a business. Before I knew it, it grew into a large company. It's been 6 years since that day, and my life's been going so well. I can't believe the truth came out now of all times. Did you ever think what it felt like for Akechi to have to bear these false charges? What it felt like to be knocked down to rock bottom and have his freedom stolen from him these past 6 years? And think what would have happened if we hadn't revealed the truth just now. How many more years would Akechi have suffered? Only the person who took away Akechi's freedom can give it back. You need to turn yourself in. Testify in front of a court and pay for your crimes. Can I escort you to the station? Yes. Yuko. I'll be right here waiting for you when you get back. Masaru. Thank you. Fuck that, I'd ditch that. Hell no. Hell no. Hell no. Extra, extra. The real criminal behind a 6-year-old Kamurocho murder turns herself in. The man originally accused of the crime now stands to be acquitted at a new trial. I was wrong about the media. I thought you just went from one person to the next looking for gossip. I didn't think you cared about the people in your articles. I figured you just forgot about them the second they left your pages. But you've been worrying about my brother this whole time. You even proved his innocence. There are decent people in the media. I really want to thank you. Knows of me. I also apologize for the way I treated you. I want to give you a reward for helping me get a retrial for my brother. You don't owe me anything. I'm sorry to say it, but I didn't do anything on this one. Proving your brother's innocence was all the work of Kazuma here. I certainly don't deserve to accept any reward from you. What are you talking about? You did what a real journalist is supposed to do. What do you mean? Sure, you wrote an article pointing to Akechi as the murderer years ago, but now you've written an article clearing his name. Isn't that the way a real journalist is supposed to resolve things? I guess you're right, but I won't let this be the end of it. I'll continue to follow the truth until the day I put down my pen. That's my duty as a reporter. And I'll be cheering you on. So I get nothing? I get nothing? I want the reward. Give me the reward. Okay, 200k is worth... Oh, 20,000 experience. Wow. Hell yeah, dude. Solved a murder mystery. A 6-year-old murder mystery. Honestly, weirdly, it wasn't as difficult as I thought it was going to be. Although the ending there played out perfectly. I really enjoyed having to remember what the contents of each of the statements were and make sure that I presented the information in a cohesive manner during the discussion. That was cool and fun, and I liked that. But actually getting the information I needed wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. It's interesting to me that the couple of people who gave me the case-breaking statements didn't give those statements to the police. Like, the fact that Oda was in a relationship, so he was cheating as well. Like, that should have been enough immediately to afford another motive that should have been looked into. And once you start looking into that motive, it should have been clear that Yuko had just as much, if not more, with the birthday and the present and everything, motive to kill Oda than Akechi did. Plus the account from, and then you find out that the guy's been being bullied, basically. Well, sort of not. The guy was just trying to make a quick buck off somebody who he thought wouldn't retaliate. Which is more or less the same thing. And you know how that all played out, so just interesting. Okay. I actually really enjoyed piecing all of that together. And while my vision of the actual events didn't come completely true, I definitely like the version that they told better because it fills in the gap that I didn't have fully filled in, which was how does Yuko learn about what happened if she doesn't see the cheating taking place? Like, she could have walked in after the other two left and just seen Oda, but that would have been a pretty weird scenario to still manage to come up with the fact that he had been cheating on her. So the fact that she was actually there before everybody else because she was there to give him a present for his birthday is super good, super solid, and fulfilling ending to that saga. So here's the book. I found it. Well done, my favorite pupil. I didn't expect you to be able to find it so quickly. Hurry up and begin your training. There are 3 techniques in this book. The techniques of heaven, earth, and man. The heaven technique is in particular is the secret of secrets that can only be conveyed from the master to his chosen one. We will start with the man and earth techniques. First, let's begin with man. Alright. To use the man technique, your opponent must be armed with a bladed weapon. So I have to wait until I'm facing an enemy with a sword before I can use it? Correct. But if you are able to use it successfully, you may be able to turn the tables on your opponent. Try it on my pupil over there. Okay? Please take it easy on me, Mr. Kiryu. Holding a sword with the heat gauge full, press triangle at the same time, they attack. Are you ready? Then begin. Okay. Swordless Rebirth. I tried. Nice. Amazing. Yes, that's Komaki's Swordless Rebirth. If you use this technique, you can turn the tables on the enemy, even if he has a sword. This could be useful. You never know what kind of weapons the enemy will have. I'd like to go on to the next technique, but do you want to rest a bit? Nope. Alright, let's go on to your next lesson. Next is the technique of Earth. For this one, you grab a hold of your opponent and drop him on his head from a height. But this technique won't do enough damage without a proper object to land on. Try dropping them onto something around knee height. That's the most effective for this move. Drop them onto something, eh? That looks pretty good. That looks about the right height. There are limited options here in the dojo. Finding the best place is part of learning this move. Now try it against my pupil as before. Heat gauge full. Approach an object is knee height. Triangle activate. Okay. Here we go. Here, bud. Oh! Holy shit. Ow. That would hurt a lot. Amazing. That was the perfect Komaki Bull Crusher. Few people can remain standing after taking a hard hit like that to the head. Bull Crusher, eh? With this move, I think I can handle even tougher enemies than before. You've now mastered 2 of the 3 secret techniques. I never thought you would learn so fast. It's all thanks to you and your pupils. I would never have been able to do it by myself. I suppose you're right. My teaching ability is certainly impressive. And you're modest, too. Hey, that's no way to talk to your master. In any case, only one remains, the technique of heaven. But do you want to rest a bit before you attempt to master it? Nope, let's go. All right, let's go on to your next lesson. Now it's time for the heaven technique, finally. It's called Komaki Dragon King Essence. As I said before, this can only be passed on from a master to his chosen pupil. So I've asked my pupils to leave us alone. Komaki Dragon King Essence must be performed after using Komaki Parry to render your opponent unconscious. Komaki Parry, eh? That's the move you can perform just as the opponent punches, right? I want you to try the move in actual combat for this last lesson too, but as I said, I've asked my pupils to step out. So I'll be facing you then. Oh, so I'll be facing you then. Ha ha ha, precisely. Your final opponent will be me. Alright, I have to review how I do the Komaki Parry, because I don't remember. But I'm not going to hold back. If you don't come at me with all your strength, you won't win. Now try Komaki Dragon Essence. R1 to enter a fighting stance and press circle just as the opponent punches to perform a Komaki Parry. After this, approach the opponent who is unconscious with the Komaki Parry and press triangle. Okay. Are you ready? Okay. Oh, oh my god! Wow. Oops. Ah, fuck me. Dude, this is amazing. Amazing! Well done, my favorite pupil. You have pulled off a Komaki Dragon King essence. Whew, I really did it. Indeed, it was perfectly executed. You moved just like me when I was your age. Really? That's quite a compliment. Boom! Did it. You have now learned all of the techniques in the book. I have nothing more to teach you. It will be difficult for you to find an opponent who can challenge you. But if you do, you must not lose. Remember, you are now the successor of the Komaki school. I won't lose. Thank you for everything. You're welcome. Well, I better get going. I'm usually here. Feel free to come back if you need me to set you on the right track again. But of course, Kamurocho is a small town in some ways. We just might run into each other somewhere. Maybe so. Dude, that was sick. So if we go to upgrades and we check out our Yep, there's Bull Crusher and Swordless Rebirth and Dragon King Essence. We're still missing a Revelation and a couple of other ones. Ancient Techniques. From texts. I'm missing 3. I'm missing the one Revelation, which I already know. Yeah. I don't think I'm going to hit the... I need so much more experience to max these out. I don't think I'm going to hit the caps. But we'll see. I mean, I've got... There's a chance that some of the stuff that I still have left open could pan out into something, into a decent chunk of EXP, but we're probably not going to manage to unlock quite everything from upgrades. The experience system in this game, I feel like, and I've mentioned this before, but it honestly feels pretty balanced. Because I've done what I can to complete a lot of things, and I'm still ending up a little short on some categories. So... But we have some missions that we're still going to try to do. Weapon modding. We've got this Stardust sub-story that we can work on now that the murder mystery is done. And we've got to eat at some places. So those are some things that we're still working on objective-wise. So yeah, we'll probably just run down the street here and start with eating more Matsuya. Got a couple more items on their menu that I need to finish up. Might be able to get two out of the way here with the amount of health I'm missing. And then I'll probably try to look into weapon modding. See if I can figure out some new weapons to mod. Honestly, the trouble with the weapon modding system is that I basically need money. And since they took out some of the stuff from this version that we got, um, it's not as easy to get like stupid rich in this game, I think. So we'll see how far I can really get in the weapon modding scene. There may be a bit of a limit to how much I can honestly do, but we'll try. I am not. I am definitely not saying I will not try. I'm going to head there and take a look at what we need right now and try to start parceling out a list of things that I can look for and buy at reasonable prices, um, so that I can try to complete a majority of the weapon mod. I'm not a crazy person. I know that I'm not going to finish it all because I know that there's some shit that is way expensive money-wise or way expensive from the Coliseum rewards, because the Coliseum rewards seem to hold a fair number of upgrades, and I'm nervous about them. What is this guy? Hello, sir? Pardon me, sir. Can I ask for a bit of your time? What is it? This may sound strange, but are you the type to keep a secret? Absolutely. Absolutely. I've always been good at keeping secrets. Glad to hear it. You look like someone who can keep his mouth shut. Is this some kind of con? No, I really mean it. And what's the deal? I've been looking for a man like you who can keep things discreet to do me a favor. What kind of favor? I'm sure you've heard of the famous actress Makiko Takahashi, yes? She's won awards overseas as Best Leading Female and has really put Japan on the map in the world of cinema. Can't say that I have. What about her? Well, it's just that Miss Takahashi craves a vibrant nightlife, so much so that she's known as the Kamurocho Queen. She goes out on the town every night here for drinks, and recently she's become very well acquainted with the top host of this host club. Today she wants to have drinks with him at her place, which is all well and good, but with her recent fame, candid photos could be damaging. If they can make it to their taxi on Park Boulevard without getting photographed, everything should be fine. Would you work as a bodyguard for Miss Takahashi and her host friend? We'll pay you for your trouble, of course. Sure. Got it. I'll usher them to the taxi. Thank you, sir. The paparazzi have been watching her every move lately, trying to snap photos that could harm her career. In fact, there's one right over there. What I'd like you to do is chase away any paparazzi who might snap a photo of Miss Takahashi and her host friend walking together. I'm sure they're hiding in various cracks and crevices like rodents, so do your best to hunt them down and chase them away. So you want me to keep those nosy photographers out of Miss Takahashi's business? That's exactly right. I'm going to bring her out now, so please do your best. So you're the stud who's been hired to keep the paparazzi off my back. I hope you're as strong as you look. Keep us safe from those vultures, Usher Boy. Makiko means the world to me. We'll reward you handsomely if this goes well, so please be patient with them. I'll go out first to make taxi preparations. Do whatever you can to keep those animals from snapping a picture of me. Sheesh. Guess I'll chase that guy off first. It's a nice camera. What are you taking? Well, it's just some, things could get ugly if I find you snapping photos of her. How about you get lost? You got it. I'm out of here. Wasn't so bad. Hey, nice going, Usher Boy. Keep that up till we get to the taxi, darling. There's a lot more paparazzi out here we need to chase off. So, we're looking for the red flashing from their, there's one. You'll make a fortune? How do you plan on doing that? What's it to you, Pops? Buzz off. Can't have you snapping photos around here. Do me a favor and beat it, huh? You're gonna pay for this. Okay, he's gone. Keep looking. There's another one. No photos, all right? I'm a journalist, tough guy. Haven't you heard of a free press? Look, you gonna get lost or do I have to get unpleasant? Fine, dickhead. Keep on the vigilant lookout. Oh, there's one. Hey. Sorry, pal. No pictures. Damn it. I was on a 3-day stakeout for this, too. Then come back tomorrow and snap away. You're done for the day. This is my chance. Oh, wait. Did they make it? Oh, no! Where did he come from? How did he get in so close? Shit. I think I fucked it up. Well, Miss Takahashi and the host made it to their taxi. Sorry, I couldn't do better. It's alright. My office will just have to sort it out with the paparazzi, most likely buying up their pictures. Between you and me, maybe this will teach her a lesson. A big star like this has to be more careful. Can't keep your lips sealed about Miss Takahashi and her new host friend, alright? I have to be on my way now. Did I do it or not? I can't. I didn't see. He wasn't there, was he? Oh, it's just finished. Damn it. He was not there. He was like right here. Well, fuck. Oh well. Not a big deal. And I haven't saved recently enough that I would want to reload and try to redo that. So the last time I saved was before we finished up the murder mystery, so I'm just gonna deal with it. I have no idea what you were supposed to do to stop that last one though, because I didn't see him in time. Didn't even get close. Alright, how much is it gonna run me to repair some of my stuff? Not cheap, but not super expensive. I don't know if I'm gonna repair the ones that are super expensive. First, we'll see how much it's gonna cost to like mod some stuff. Ooh. No new designs. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let me see what I already have modded first. It's only 8 things, so got a pen. I just need some scratch paper. I'll be right back. I should have some. All right. Scratch paper acquired. It's the perforated kind, so you can tear off the little notebook part because it's from a spiral notebook. So I'm just cleansing that really quick. Perfect. All right. So, ones that we don't need to make because I've already got credit. Spiked bat. Anything else in here? It says 4 of 49. Okay. Carbon. Tonfa. Double shafts. And Kami, Yamas, Police, Baton. All right, and for gear, new flak vest, new flak vest. Immovable belt. High-tech shin guards. Oops. And springing arm guards. This pen is dying. And I have another pen somewhere. But I don't see it. Okay. Try this one. Much better. Much better. Okay. Okay. So, now let's see which ones I can make out of the list. Okay. So we can mod the Patriarch's driver. Oh, we've got a lot of options. Oh, wow. Look at this. Bladed Tonfa? Oh, wow. Okay. So let's just go ahead. This was made by Majima's orders for reasons unknown. So let's just go ahead and write down some of the ones that we can do. Well, I should write them down after I do them because it uses materials. So add the Patriarch's driver. Assassin's Spear. Bunch of mod options for the extendable staff. See, this is the other thing that I need to do is I need to write down. So on the back side of this, I think I'm gonna start writing down some of the base items that I need. So like expandable staff, I'm gonna need 3 more because I can make 3 of these. But purgatory rod, blade staff, and compact octagon staff are all out of the question. Also, look at that thing. I'm gonna make that thing first because that is amazing. So extendable staff. Times 3. And actually, I think that thing that I think that black, what was it called? Black driver or something like that. I might need another one of those. So first, let's make white dragon spear. And now I'm out of whatever item 1 and item 2 is for that. They're gone. So, which is okay. We'll make this spiked staff. Oh no, this pen's dying on me too. And steel extendable staff. Okay. So missing an item for a blackjack mod. The army knife only mods into the sonic knife, so we'll do that. Collapsible hammer. I need another one for the dragon hammer. Okay. Collapsible hammer, but we're going to make the toy hammer. Right? And the pepper spray only mods into the pepper spray hammer, which is amazing. Okay. Tonfa. I need another iron tonfa. But I'm going to make the bladed tonfa. This is actually really good. Chaku. Carbon? Nope, that's new. Carbon. Nunchaku. Okay. Make that. And then heavy twin hangers and steel. So I need 2 more of these. Long nunchaku. X2. Should I make steel or heavy? Let's make the steel ones. Okay, so double slats into demon taiko sticks or spiked taiko sticks. The demon ones seem better. So I need a set of double slats. And I'm going to make demon taiko sticks. Oh. The demon upgrade into dragon. And I ran out of items to make anything with my double shafts into premium. I had something and it got used, so we'll have to find out what that is, which is fine. That's an entirely different list at this point that I'm not even gonna worry about. Slime gun, smoke gun. Oops. Guns, others. Ballbuster and brick shitter beer. So I need multiple blackjacks then. I need 2. Because I can mod the blackjack into the photon blade RG as well. So we need 2 blackjacks. And I'm going to make the ballbuster. I don't need to worry about the hyper stun gun because it only mods into the police baton and we already made that. Modified stun lighter. Okay, so we should try to get that as well. So now let's look at gear accessories. So binding into strong training gear. Just do it. Strong training gear. Steel mail into Yakuza training gear. I can't do that. Antique chainmail into Kamiyama jacket. That's also a new one. Steel shoulder guards. That's also a new one. Swap body armor into low resilience jacket. Or dustproof shirt. So we need another swap body armor. And I'm going to make this low resilience jacket. Okay. What else can I... Oh, jeez. Okay, iron breastplate into special phone book. I guess. If I wear this thing, my body's attacks should get stronger. My body attacks. Interesting. It's gonna make it. Oh, did that use... Shit, I need an iron body armor, wasn't it? I think it was iron body armor. Iron body armor. I didn't notice that right away, but that was in this list before. Gauntlets. I've already made the springy arm guards, so I'm just going to make the Kamiyama arm guards. Oh, I can upgrade the springy into high tech. Plastic shin guards into 2 things. I already have the high tech, so I would just need the striker. So that's okay. Comfy soles. Spiked shoes and Mew shoes. Like the spiked shoes. I have enough comfy soles. Oh, that's it. That's it. Okay, so here we go. So this is where... Okay, I'm going to start a new sheet of scratch paper that tells me what the main thing is based on this list that I've now compiled of all the things that I have done, so we can go through all of my records and figure out what I'm missing and what it's going to take to make them. Okay, so Photon, Blade, RG. Boy, this pen sucks too. Put it in the sucky pen pile. I apparently have more pens than I knew that I had, though, so here's another one. We'll try this one for a bit. I guess I'll just do this vertically. Blackjack. Oh, this pen is blue. Battery. Blue. Floor. Ooh, boy, I can't spell. UORESCNT. Bulb. Okay. And food is here. Oh my goodness. Nice. Okay, all for me? Yep. Thank you. No, doesn't, but that's okay. So, spiked staff we already made. Don't need that. Assassin spear we also made. We don't need that. Bladed tonfa we also made. There it is. So we don't need that. Okay. Good. Fist of Legend. Spiked knuckles. Oh, he sells brass knuckles. Spiked knuckles. Not on the list. So, spiked knuckles is brass knuckles, a block of brass, platinum nail. Dragon knuckles are also new. Doing brass knuckles and top quality charcoal. And rising dragon brooch. Oh, shit. I think that's one of the Coliseum rewards, so that one may be outside of our reach. Okay, this only has those two. So next. Purgatory Rod. That's one of the ones that we couldn't make. Purgatory Rod is extendable staff. Super alloy spring. And lighter oil. Okay. Double broadswords. I don't think we did any sword mods. Chinese broadsword. Okay. Yin and Yang dragon brooches. Yin and Yang dragon. Okay. Dude, my hand. I do not do enough writing in my life. My hand is like, my wrist is fucking on fire. Twin hangers? We didn't make those. I saw them as an option, but didn't make them. Twin hangers. Actually, I don't think I could. Long nunchaku. Patented hanger. X2. Okay. Just the one from this one as well. Double katana. I like these ones that only have the single nameless katana. Ancient steel and old bell. Okay. Whoops. Oh, shit. No. Twin hangers. Double katana. This one. Okay. Pepper knuckles. Brass knuckles. Pepper. And adhesive bandages. Retrofire Tonfa. Mail order Tonfa. And ground hot pepper. dropper. Okay. This one's got 2 pages. Drowsy 55. $9mm automatic pistol. Mystery liquid. Yikes. And multi-purpose thumbtack. Oh. Okay. How many more of these do we got? 19. Okay. Good. This definitely is not murdering my my hand. Okay, so we can skip Carbon Nunchaku. We don't care about that. We've already done that one. Premium double shafts. That one's not on there. Dragon Taiko sticks. That one's also not on there yet. I thought about typing this out. Maybe that would be better. But I've already started writing. Yeah, maybe I will type it. It's a lot less brutal on my hand. It's good that I have the handwritten list of the things that I've done, though, so I can quickly reference that. But I think continuing down the path of writing all these out will literally murder my wrist. I think I am going to put them in an Excel doc, though, instead of what I started. Okay. Continuing through our list, then. Next is this. We didn't make the heavy. Heavy nunchaku. Long nunchaku. Super resin. Twice. Steel we did make, though, didn't we? Yes, we did make the steel one. So that's it for this category. Double coils. Double sticks. Lighter. Oil. Flint. Double stun sticks. Double sticks. Battery. Chunk of wood. Ash. Okay, no more from that. Pepper spray hammer, we made that. We're good. Spiked bat we've made. Brick shitter beer. Did not make that. Brick shitter beer. Blackjack. Ancient steel. Broken radio. Ball buster we did make. Kamiyama's police baton were good. Sonic knife we made. Paper tiger knuckles. Brass knuckles. Should have bought a shitload of brass knuckles and gone nuts. Rage sack? Super resin. Mail order katana. Didn't I already have this one written down? Oh no. Mail order tonfa. This one is different. Okay. Mail order katana. Nameless katana. Ancient steel. Battery. Toy hammer, good. Dragon hammer, didn't make. Dragon hammer. Collapsible hammer. Gravity converter. Bloody cloth. This is going to be interesting. Demon Taiko sticks we made. Spiked Taiko sticks we did not. Spiked Taiko sticks. Double slats. Super resin. Platinum nail. Double shafts is on my list. We're good. Fake dynamite. Pepper spray. Broken clock. Artificial bouquet. Artificial bouquet. Fake pistols new. Rainbow alloy. Another artificial bouquet. Okay, that's all. Chicken champs. Okay. Patriarch's bat. We made Patriarch's driver, but not bat. Chunk of wood. Maple. Rainbow alloy. So the driver we're good on. And that's it. Blue dragon bat. Bat, chunk of Wood. Sacred. Blue dragon. Roach. Nature blade. Quality. Steel blade. Ancient. Steel. Azure gem. Compact. Octagon. Staff. Extendable. Staff. Super. Alloy. Spring. Chunk of wood ash. Blade staff. Extendable staff. Super alloy spring. Gold plated condenser. Some of these I'm looking at, I'm like, I know I don't have that shit. I made steel extendable staff, and I made white dragon spear. So we're good on those. Unorthodox weapons guide. Okay. Modified. Stun. Lighter. Modified lighter. Prototype. Battery. Lighter. Oil. Slime spray. Couldn't make that before. Pepper spray. Cooking oil. Torrenter. Interesting. A use for the medicine. Smoke. Gun. Broken. M1985. Flower. Squishy ball. Slime gun. Expulsion. S12. Cooking oil. Balloon. Chinese dragon tonfa. Iron tonfa. Ancient inkstone. Chinese. Dragon. Roach. Carbon tonfa. We made that before. Asquills. Protective amulet. Platinum nail. Super resilient resin. Special phone book we made. Megaphone. Neckband. Tiger skin belt. Eerie stuffed toy. Prototype battery. Bullet proof glass amulet. Shard of tempered glass. Magnetized metal. Steel shoulder guards. Nope, that's... I thought maybe I had made those, but I did not. Small kettle. Rubber hose. Fireproof shirt. Fighters binding. Fireproof bag. Cold pack. That makes sense. Striker shin guards. Didn't make those. Plastic shin guards. Vegetable raider. Super resin. Oh, that sounds mean. Runner's necklace is protective. Boy, I'm going to need a lot of these protective amulets. Okay. Springy arm guards. Good. Strong training gear. Made it. Dustproof shirt. Needs a small motor. Okay. Wake up shirt. Battle mail. Ground hot pepper. Tonic shampoo. Insulated shirt. Fearless. Binding. Rubber hose. Super glue. Sure, of course. New flak vest? Don't need to make that. I already made that one. Uber contacts. Contact lenses. Ground. Hot pepper. Tonic. Shampoo. Super contacts. Contact lenses. New material. XX. Plastic. Bag. 5 pages? Alright, well, this is how you make the Mew shoes. I was kind of curious. We need comfy soles. Stuffed cat toy. And a balloon. Okay. Interesting. Made the spiked shoes. Pass on that. High-tech shin guards I've made. Immovable belt I've made. Rescue card. Once again, the amulet. More ground hot pepper. Special alloy wire. High-tech arm guards? Haven't made those. High. Tech arm guards. Springy arm guards. Flexible hose. New material. XX. Yakuza training gear. Steel mail. Steel mail. Fitness gear. Old suspension. Low resilience jacket. We made that. Okay. One more catalog to go. Kamiyama shin guards. I made his arm guards, not the shin ones. Shin guards, steel, shin guards. New material, XX. Weapon, masters, gem. Yikes. Arm guards, done. Oh, I used the weapon master's gem that I had. Oh, no. That's not good. Kamiyama jacket. Antique chain mail. Fitness gear. Weapon master's gem. When equipping all 3 of these items at once, equipped weapons are a lot more durable. Oh, cool. Okay, we checked all the designs. I am going to quickly transfer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 items from my handwritten notes just so that everything's in the same spot. Photon blade RG. Blackjack. Battery. Blue. That way I can tally up what I need more effectively. Boy, reading my own handwriting makes me sad. Charcoal rising, dragon brooch, purgatory rod, extendable staff, super alloy, spring, lighter, oil, double broads, swords, Chinese, broadsword. Oof. Yin dragon brooch. Young dragon brooch. Twin hangers. Long nunchaku. Patented hanger times 2. Double katana. Nameless katana. Ancient steel. Old bell. Pepper. Knuckles. Brass. Knuckles. Pepper. Adhesive bandages. Oh, I tried. There we go. Retro fire. That's what that says. Tonfa mail order. Ground hot pepper. What is dropper? Drow dash Z 55 9mm automatic pistol. Mystery. Liquid. Multi-purpose. Thumbtack. All right. So I have a list of 50 items that I can make with weapon modding. And I am missing 50 items. So if I make everything on the list, I get 100% on the weapon modding. So that means I found every weapon mod manual, which is a good feeling. That being said, that's a lot of items. So we'll see. I'm always beating up thugs on Sunday, Luna. That's just the life of Kiryu. That's just how things go. I want to get a summary. Oh, that's right. There's a remove duplicates button. But that doesn't give me a count, though. Uh, what I want, I wish there was a simple way to do this in Excel. And it's one of the more frustrating things about Excel. But what I want to do now is just take each of the columns that I made of the base weapons, the item ones, and the item twos, and spit out a list with counts that counts up the duplicates and gives me a complete list of base weapons and a complete list of items and the number of them that I need to do all of this. But unfortunately, that's kind of like a weirdly difficult thing to do in Excel. And I honestly will never understand why that's such a difficult thing. As it feels like it would be super handy. There's got to be a way to do this the way I want it to work. Oh, you know what I probably need in order to get this pivot table to work? So, new item, base item, item, oops, 1, item 2. Maybe that would help it not be confused. Uh, let's delete this and then try this again. Maybe not. Maybe it would just be easier if I did this manually. So if I want the rows, I hate these pivot tables too. They're so confusing. So if I want the rows count of new item. See, what I want is this. Remove. I want base item. And then count of base item. Oh, I think that actually worked. So if I look through this list, is it 4 brass knuckles? 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that actually worked. Okay. So then give me another pivot table just over. This is the one I really care about, is the other items. pivot table on sheet 4, and we're going to say that the row is item 1 and item 2. Remove that. Oh, that doesn't work. Shit. Oh, maybe that does work? How many ancient steel do we find in this list? One, two. The thing that I want to check for is 3, 4. Is it showing me any ancient steels that are in item 2 is my concern. Ancient steel, ancient steel, ancient steel. I only count 4. Or is it getting 5? 5. But they're all in item 1, which doesn't prove my theory, unfortunately. So if I check, what's another one that has a lot? Ground hot pepper, there's 4. Are those all in item 1 as well? Ground hot pepper 1. Oh, actually, no, there's a different way I need to look at this. Does ground hot pepper show up as a subcategory for anything? Because then that's going to be super confusing. Yeah, see, this, okay, so this doesn't quite work the way I'm hoping it would, the way I was hoping it would. So maybe we'll just do a pivot table for the number of times they show up as item 1, and we'll do a pivot table for the number of times it shows up as item 2, and then we'll just combine that information. I think is that maybe the easiest way to do it. Because otherwise, I think it's going to get confused. So then sheet 5 is item 2, count of item 2, remove, and then what I want oh, I guess I don't. Can I make a pivot table of pivot tables? I don't think so. I wish I could. How would I? Oh, wait. Why is grand total in there? Get out of there. I want to change the data. How do I? Can I like put a comma and then sheet 5? There we go. There we go. Reference isn't valid. You're not valid. Damn it. It's so close to being helpful. Well, I think I'm going to work off of getting the base items first. Let's like do a thing. I'm going to work on getting the base items for now. And then maybe during, oh shit, we need to take a break anyway. Shit. Um well, I can't very well encourage a break if I don't also get up on a break. So let's do that. Let's take a break. I am going to step away. We're just going to do like 5 minutes really quick. Let's take 5. And then I'll come back. We'll start collecting the weapons, the base weapons that we need. And then I'll try to deal with how to figure out what other shit we're missing. But the fact that the 2-item thing is not working for me as far as like making a combination of them so that I can see if an item shows up in item 1 and 1 for one thing and item 2 for another thing. I want it to make sure it still adds those two together, and right now it's not. So anyway, my personal problems aside, let's take a 5-minute break. And then when we come back, we'll start trying to check off the items on our list here. We've got 50 base items that I have to get, right? Some pistols, some brass knuckles, some swords, all sorts of different things, some armor stuff. So we'll do that when I come back, run around to some shops, buy what I can, and figure out where everything is. There's actually a bunch of stuff right in here that I need, that I've got this menu open right now. So we'll do that, and then I'll deal with the actual items needed to upgrade stuff. So 5-minute break. I'll be back.